Happy birthday to me, I guess. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so glad to see you here. If you've seen my video about summer TBR, you know who this is. But if you haven't, first of all, you can go watch this. But I'm gonna tell you nonetheless. This is Hamish Bear Nuffy, and he is my microphone. As I'm filming this, it is 31st of May, which not only means that it is the last day of May, but it is actually the last day of spring as well, and it is the day before my birthday. So if you're watching this the day I uploaded the video, you are watching this on my birthday. Yes, I was born first day of summer. Happy birthday to me, I guess. In this video, I thought it would be a fun idea to kind of reset myself and my reading for the summer. I already did summer TBR, like I've already told you, but for this video, I've planned also on decorating my pocketbook case. I want to add some new summery stickers to it. Also, I need to do a new cover for my reading journal for June. Still haven't done that, so we're gonna do it together. And right now, first things first, I'm gonna give you my wrap up of what I've read in May and also kind of my goals and what I'm planning on doing this summer, reading wise. First, let's talk about my May reading stats. I had a TBR of 7 books, and out of those 7 books, I read 4. DNF'd 1, and didn't quite have time to get to other 2. Overall this month I read 8.5 books and also DNF'd 1. I DNF'd it at almost half of the book, so let's count that I read 9 books this month. And here on the screen I'm actually gonna put the number of pages I read and my average rating for the month, because I'm looking at my reading journal and I still haven't done that. I'm gonna move a little bit to the side, so here I will be able to put covers of the books I'm talking about. And let's begin. The book that I originally started reading in April but finished it on the 1st of May, with reading almost half of it, is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I gave the book 4 stars, and honestly, I loved it. It was such a fun, quick, fast-paced read. It was really twisty with definitely creative setting that I've never read something like that before. And I also really enjoyed the writing. It was simple, nothing really extraordinary about it, but for some reason I really connected with it, and so I really want to read more of this author's works. Definitely highly recommend if you are looking for some fast-paced and twisty mystery thriller. Next is Shatter Me by Tahir and Mafi. Please don't kill me, and please don't hate on me, but I hated the book, and I gave it 2 stars. I really expected something Hunger Games level, but it was not even close, like at all, and I completely do not get the hype around this book, and I definitely do not want to continue with this series because I hated the first book, hence I don't want to continue the series. It was just so weird, and it felt like we didn't really have that much of a plot. It was more of a romance set in a dystopian world. And the romance was so insta-lovey, and it was not even real love at all. Plus, I hated Aaron Warner, and I don't know what Tahereh Mafi has to write for me to love him, because I know everyone's obsessed with him. So I think I should be too, and I think that will come in further books, but honestly, I just do not care to continue reading it. Next, let's talk about my DNF of the month, which is Nightweaver by R.M. Gray. I DNF'd this book at 42%, so I read 202 pages, which I hated. I was expecting a book about pirates, then tell me why they stopped being pirates literally in the 2nd chapter. And also, this is not really a spoiler, but the way pirates became servants so easily and so obediently, girl, be for real. They are pirates. They have to fight for their freedom. That's what they do. That's what they are. Why did they become servants so obediently? That just doesn't sit with me right, and apparently there is no explanation, because I was going through some Goodreads reviews of the people who actually finished the book, and they were saying all these things after finishing the book, which means that nothing was explained, and what I hated was still further in the book. So I decided not to torture myself, and I stopped reading it. Also, the enemies to lovers were not enemies to lovers, let's be honest. It was almost insta-lovey again, because the main character was literally saying, oh my god, I have to hate him, but he's so hot. But I have to hate him, but oh my god. That is not enemies to lovers when you are attracted to that person. And the only thing that's stopping you is your thought that you should hate him. You don't even have the reason to hate him. What do you mean? Anyway, I was just so disappointed with this book because I was so much expecting to love it, and it was awful. It was awful. Next book is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. 2 stars. Trust me, after this book, there are gonna be some more great reads. I just did not really start the month strong. I was buddy reading this book with my friend, and honestly, I kind of went into it knowing little to nothing. And from what I knew, it sounded like some extremely grasping and twisty read. However, it was not. It was not it at all. We barely had any twists. Twists came closer to the end of the book, which is not what I'm here for. I want to be engaged all the time and not just last 50 pages. This book was more of following just lives of these women, and their lives were not interesting to follow. So I did not like that. I do not mind literary fiction. I love literary fiction when I am invested in the story, when I love the characters, when I want to know what their lives are about. However, here, it was not interesting at all. So this explains my rating because I really did not like this book. Now, finally, let's get to books with higher ratings. A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir, which I gave 4.5 stars. I enjoyed this book even more than I loved the first one in the series, even though I loved the first book, but this one was just so much better. Unfortunately, obviously, I can't tell much because obviously it is the second book in the series and we start right off where the first book ended. So I'm going to be very vague about what I say, and I'm just going to focus on my thoughts and feelings and not on the plot points. I really loved the traveling aspect of this book. I'm not going to tell who was traveling and why they were traveling, but I loved that. I loved meeting new characters. I loved seeing how these different characters lived. And this book literally had me on the chokehold almost the whole time with how twisty and grasping it was, and with how much stuff was happening at the same time. I talked about this in the video where I read this book, but the ending was kind of difficult for me to understand. But it is not the book problem, it is me problem, because English is obviously not my first language, it's not even my second language, it is my third one, and Opa. Missile. I apologize. There was a missile flying to my city, so I had to go to the shelter, but I'm back now, and let's continue talking about A Torch Against the Night. Like I said, I had struggles at the end of the book with grasping what was discussed and what was described because there were some more advanced words used, and I was just having troubles imagining what they were talking about, so it took me a lot more time to understand and get through that last part of the book. However, that was only the last part, so I still very much enjoyed the book. Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. I gave this book as well 4.5 stars. It was so good. I loved that besides fantasy, we also had a mystery plot. And I also loved the romance subplot that was also in here, and their enemies banter. Spectacular. This is what I mean when I say I love enemies banter. Emilia and Wrath, that's what I want from enemies to lovers. However, again, at the end, I didn't really vibe with the book. I'm not sure how to explain it without giving any spoilers. So that's all I'm gonna say. Hence the half star that was off from 5 stars. But overall, amazing book. Please read it if you still haven't. I'm not gonna be talking much about the next 2 books because you'll see more of my thoughts in my next video. I'm just gonna give you a little review and of course my rating. The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Yes, I absolutely do understand the hype. This book was a 4.75 star for me. I was having 5-star feelings at the beginning, but it just did not feel like 5-star after finishing it. I loved our 2 main characters, Ivan and Clementine, and I also loved the little nickname that Ivan had for her. I'm just a sucker for cute little nicknames. And I also did find a lot of myself in Clementine, so I feel like that's why I connected with the book as much as I did. The next book is actually the only physical book I read this month, and this is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker-Chan. It is a translated edition, but the cover looks the same, so maybe you recognize it. I was so much expecting to be in love and obsessed with this book, because what sounded perfect in theory, combination of Mulan and the Poppy War, turned out to be such a surface level story without interesting characters and a really engaging plot. I gave the book 2 stars because it really did disappoint me, and at no point of this book was I interested. And I will definitely not be continuing with the series, even though it's just a duology. I just see no sense in me continuing it with how much I did not like the story and mainly the characters. Forging Silver into Stars by Brigid Kemmerer. I gave the book 3.25 stars, and honestly, I thought this book would have such a high rating, but unfortunately it did not. I was enjoying, I'd say, first half of it, but then it just continued being the same without really any plot, and I just did not like that because this book is over 500 pages. Where is the plot? I need the plot. I need stuff happening, and I just don't want to hear about the same things over and over again without learning literally anything new. The ending, yeah, it was engaging, it was interesting, it was fast paced and twisty, but again, the book is more than 500 pages. We did not need all those pages in order to get where we got. Plus, some of the characters, specifically one character, made some questionable decisions which were such unlike their character. It just felt that those decisions were made purely to move the plot. Yeah, the book was fun, but I wouldn't say I really loved it. And the last book that I literally finished like half an hour ago, I literally was just reading it, is Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. This is another continuation of the series, so I will not be talking much about it. It is actually the third book in a 4-book series, so not much can be said without giving spoilers. I would just say that I loved being back in this world. I really missed the characters, I really missed the story, the plot, and definitely Maggie Stiefvater's writing. Something about her writing is just so captivating and grasping that I missed her so much, and I was so happy to be back here. I would say though that this book is my least favorite of the whole series so far. It just felt kind of off. Even though, again, a lot of stuff was happening, I just did not find myself as intrigued as I was in the first 2 books. And honestly, I'm still not sure on the rating, but you're gonna see this on the screen. I am definitely excited to finish this series because I really want to know how the story will wrap up and what will happen at the end. But yeah, this book was personally not my favorite. Overall, this month, I wouldn't say it was the worst reading month, but I wouldn't say that it was the best one either. So I'm really hoping that the June will bring me many more amazing reads. And that's why I'm not setting any strict TBR for myself. June will be just my mood reading month. I have planned a lot of fun videos and I really hope to see you around. So please subscribe because a lot of exciting stuff is coming. I will also be working on my TikTok in June. You can see my username on the screen and I will also add a link to it in my description. I do not have any videos there yet, however they will be coming in June. Once I'm done with my finals, trust me, there will be a lot of videos on both YouTube and TikTok. This is all I wanted to talk to you about, and now let's go to my table and finally update my reading journal.